Today on the WhereTraveler podcast, our host, Teresa Rodriguez, talks with Shirley Scott. She's a Big Apple greeter, one of a team of volunteers who welcome visitors to New York City with one-of-a-kind experiences that are free. In the true spirit of the Big Apple, Shirley and the rest of the team promote friendly, inviting, cross-cultural experiences of living in New York. They bolster tourism by welcoming visitors from all around the world, and they give a great example for all New Yorkers of showing pride in their city and giving back by volunteering. Shirley is one of over 300 Big Apple greeters who typically spend between 2 and 4 hours with the visitors they engage, showing everything the city has to offer, from the people in the neighborhoods of any of the 5 boroughs, to the natural wonders of Central Park, to the world's greatest collection of museums, to the architectural features of the buildings that defined the modern metropolis. This diverse collection of New Yorkers can take visitors right to the heart of whatever they love the most in the town that truly has it all. That's why among the hundreds of thousands of visitors guided by Big Apple greeters, virtually all of them has said that the greeters made a difference in their trip, made them feel much more welcome, and helped them to be more confident to explore the city on their own. Now, if you like what we do here on the WhereTraveler podcast, and if you find travel tips fun and useful, please do us a favor and subscribe to the show on iTunes or Spotify, or write us a review and give us a 5-star rating. We sure would appreciate it, and we'll keep the valuable content coming week after week. And speaking of valuable content, Shirley talks with Teresa about how to get your bearings in Central Park when you feel lost, and about so much more that's in the neighborhoods almost hiding in plain sight. And if you go to bigapplegreeter.org, you can request a greeter for your own trip to New York City. You can volunteer to be a greeter if you are a New Yorker, or you can support the Big Apple greeters with a donation or a purchase from their gift store. That's bigapplegreeter.org. And now here's your host, Teresa Rodriguez, and our special guest, Shirley Scott.
You're listening to the WhereTraveler podcast, the audio companion for WhereTraveler magazine in print and online. For more information, go to wheretraveler.com. And now, Teresa Rodriguez, Editor-in-Chief for WhereTraveler San Francisco.
Hi, this is Teresa Rodriguez, your host at the WhereTraveler podcast, and we're on location in Central Park with Shirley Scott, who is part of the volunteer program called Big Apple Greeters. Shirley, thanks so much for being here with us today.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, this is pretty awesome. I didn't know that there was a program called Big Apple Greeters. Can you tell us a little bit about the program?
Absolutely. It's a completely volunteer-based welcome visitor program. We have more than 300 volunteer greeters, and we meet visitors to the city by appointment, and we share with them a neighborhood that the greeter knows well. For example, I studied art and design, and I enjoy architecture. So my first greeter visit, and I also speak Spanish, so we try to match up languages with interest. So my first visit was a lovely architect from Argentina, and I took her all around Gramercy Park, and we did pretty much a address by address of the different history all around Gramercy Park, which of course is the park that if you live on the park, you get a magic key to the park. So it's a very fun place to know, but a lot of fun history. And that the greeters are not specifically tour guides at all. They're new friends who are sharing their love for their hometown, knowledge of our city, and just personal favorites and insider tips.
So how do people find out about Big Apple Greeters or connect with the Big Apple Greeter?
They can make a reservation just by going to our website, which is www.bigapplegreeter.org. No S at the end of greeter. And you'll give your more or less your travel dates, and and any specific interest in the city. There's one option that you'll see on the website that'll be greeter's choice. So in that case, when they go to look for a greeter, they can find one that's available during your dates that can just choose some place that they think it's one of their favorite places to share with visitors that come to New York City.
And this is totally free?
It's totally free. It's a free service. Donations are welcome. Donations directly to Big Apple Greeter can be done on the website. Absolutely. No money changes hands. We're happy if they go to a little coffee afterward or something. Everyone pays for their own. There's no need for anything to be given to the greeter that day. It's usually about a 2-hour walk around. The greeter will actually meet the guests at their hotel.
Oh, wow. So if you're staying at a hotel, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it makes it easy for them.
Yeah, because, I find that when traveling, especially in a city as big as New York, it can be really, really overwhelming. And we love our concierge. They're fantastic. They give us the information that we need. But of course, the concierge can't leave their desk and take us around the neighborhood and show us the sights. So I just find it so awesome that Big Apple Greeters exists and that these people are willing to spend their time doing this. And so I know that they'll meet you at your hotel and take you on a tour of an area that you're interested in. I'm assuming via foot, via public transportation. I mean, what's the usual means of getting to a location? Say I'm staying on the Upper West Side and I want to go check out Wall Street.
Yeah, so they would actually they would use your Metro, you would use your own Metro card. And if you don't have one, they would take you to the nearest subway stop, help you purchase the Metro card. And from the Upper West Side to Wall Street, definitely it would be a very easy, quick ride on this train. They're also happy to give any help with transportation as far as like teaching people how to use the Metro card, how it works. And then once they got to the other place, then probably on foot, usually they'll pick a spot once you get to the goal area of the city that you are interested in. That would be where the bulk of the walking and the visit greeter experience would happen. And then they would get you back in the direction of your hotel, and then they would go on to their home. So everyone is...
That's awesome. So let's talk about you and tell us about your history in New York. Or how long have you been living in this big city?
In this big city, I've been here about over 20 years. My dad was born here, a few blocks from where we are right now, and he got an interesting idea between college years to go up to Alaska. So he stayed there for 60 years. So I was born and raised in Alaska, but ended up coming back to New York about 20 years ago to take care of my grandparents, his father, until they passed away in the late 90s. But I ended up going then to school here. I went to Parsons School of Design, got involved actually in Big Apple Greeter and a couple other fun programs that I kind of... In New York, obviously, a lot of what you make ends up going toward rent. So what you have left, you kind of have to be careful with. But I've gotten pretty good at living on a shoestring and finding opportunities for cultural events that are easy to go to and share with others at pretty low cost.
So, can you share those ideas with us? Yeah,
there's a lovely lady, Nutella, that she invented this years ago. She created a website called clubfreetime.com. The beauty of this is that you can even sign up just for a month for a very nominal price, and it will give you literally hundreds of activities, everything from outdoor movies to the outdoor festivals to what day museums happen to be free to just hundreds of things every day on the website for a nominal fee. I think the yearly fee is only about $19.95, so you can just do it for a month if you're coming just for a visit. And besides being a huge source of, it's basically everything from $10 down to zero, everything from free under $10. But she also has a big relationship with a lot of the theaters. So they have she has the ability to actually give you comp tickets for events that would normally cost between $25 and $150. And the comp tickets, there's a small service charge, nominal about $4.50. But with your membership, you have access to go ahead and purchase those tickets. And it's a really wonderful resource.
Can you tell us about something that you've done or how you've used that service?
I got to see Michael Moore for $4.50 on Broadway, and it was orchestra tickets. She also usually gets the best tickets. These are tickets that producers, when I've helped produce shows, we've used things like Nutella's clubfreetime.com, because if we have saved out seats for critics or the press or special guests or house seats, and then 2 days before they're not gone, we don't want that front row or the front orchestra seats empty. We want to make it look like it's completely full. So we'll go ahead and give Nutella 20 seats or 10 seats or whatever we have left. So the first 10 people that are looking on there can get these amazing orchestra seats for $4.50. The only thing that we ask, obviously, is they don't mention to anyone else that they only paid $4.50 when somebody next to them perhaps paid full price, and that they just respectfully reserve comment about whatever it is you're watching until you're away from the theater. But in the end, it's just a wonderful opportunity to be able to do that. I've gone to hundreds of things. So there was a show that they've been doing for the last couple of years called The Who's Christmas, and it's a spoof on Cindy Lou Who and the Grinch. And it's Cindy Lou when she grows up. And it's a hot ticket. It's very funny. It's the actress is the gal that was in a Broadway show that was very popular. And it's a one-woman show. It's hysterical. I think the tickets are $79. It was beautiful theater on the West Side. I was able to grab a couple tickets when I had guests in town, and $4.50.
So, and what we've got the theater, so she does a lot of theater. What are the other things? You mentioned some museums that she works with as well?
Yes, she'll do some museum entries, but also, well, she has I would say the best, at least what I've seen, website for searching, because if you actually do it on a computer, you can put in your date range of when you're coming or when you have guests coming, and then what you're looking for. And you can just tick it off. I want museums. I want out-of-door things. I want street fairs. I want concerts. I want classical concerts. I want free walking tours. I want whatever it is that you want. You click it, and then it'll give you this whole list of everything that matches your dates and your criteria. And then she also has on there a favorites, so you can just click on things, and then when you reach out to your guests, they already have a compiled list that is basically they can choose from that list, and it's a very efficient website.
So what was the name of the website again?
Clubfreetime.com.
Clubfreetime.com. That sounds fantastic. So I think that would be something that visitors to New York should do prior to arriving. Is that something you would recommend?
Absolutely. Because some of the things, even though they are sometimes some of the theater or the classical, you can get. She has connections with Carnegie Hall. Wow. That is just an honor to just go in and see something at Carnegie Hall. So if you can do it for just the $4.50, if you can do it just for the service charge, it's a great honor just to be able to do that. But a lot of those sometimes are in advance. So yes, it's a great idea. If you know your dates ahead of time, go on clubfreetime.com, pay the nominal membership for however long you decide, and then choose your dates and put things in your favorite spot.
That's awesome. I love it. And what else do you have for us?
Another favorite of mine that I always share with people is called goldstar.com. And this is actually all through the United States by now. When I first heard about it, it was through a wonderful travel website called tangodiva.com. And it was for San Francisco, and they'd opened up New York. But now it is in many, many cities, from Chicago to Houston to Dallas to Boston to Washington, D.C. We like to think of Gold Star as the easiest and most affordable way to go see live entertainment. And it's all across the United States. They now have Gold Star. They have about 10 million members. And this helps them also attract other venues that will be happy to give them their extra tickets and options. This is one that they'll have things like the Madame Tussauds Wax Museum, which is about maybe $35 to get in. Everything on Gold Star is 50% off.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And then beyond the 50%, then you'll pay a little service charge that varies depending on how expensive the ticket is. Now they have actually also gotten in with comp tickets as well. So some of these may even overlap, but there might be comp tickets for other venues as well and other concerts and whatnot, in which case you don't even have to pay the 50%. You just pay the whatever service fee they have decided. I've even gone to like the Crawfish Festival on Governor's Island. That's supposed to be like a $40 ticket or something, and it was comped because that helps the producers of the show, because it just gets you there, and then they assume obviously that you're going to perhaps purchase something there, so that just helps their numbers. And it's a really big opportunity to be able to go to all kinds of different shows. They also have Broadway sometimes. They had Spider-Man on Broadway. They have a lot of the big ticket Broadway shows. So it's pretty much 50% of an orchestra ticket plus the service charge.
And that's goldstar.com.
And if you do follow Gold Star on social media, every week they have giveaways that are fun little options that obviously it'll inspire you to go ahead and look on it again. But you'll always find something any day in New York.
Yeah.
On any given day, there are probably 400 different options.
That's amazing.
And their website actually is lovely too. They've just updated it, and it has nice little picture icons. So if you want family activities, you want only outdoors, you want things on the water, every single boat trip in Manhattan is pretty much on Gold Star.
That's fantastic.
That's
our little secret.
Yes.
Not anymore. I hear that you also volunteered at Central Park and that you have a few little secrets that you could share with our listeners.
Yes, Central Park is just Olmsted's gift to the city. It's like an oasis in the middle of the city that you can go to at any time from any direction. Right in the middle between 59th Street and 110th Street and between 5th Avenue and Central Park West. It is so big, it's divided for the care of all of the flora and fauna into 106 different sections. Each section has a horticulturalist that is in charge of that section. The section that I volunteer in is where we have the cherry blossom trees that were a gift from Japan in 1979. So there's specific care that we have to give them, and it's just a fun way to be outside. I live in an apartment without a balcony and usually kill my houseplants, but this is a way that I can actually go dig in the dirt. In the fall, you might go and get to rake leaves and pile them into the little trailers that will drive around. You might have to pick up acorns because we don't want extra seedlings sucking out nutrients and whatnot from the soil. So you might just be picking up acorns. You might be pruning these gorgeous cherry trees so that because the horticulturist will explain exactly why you do everything, and you just to go do it. And you give maybe 2 hours a week if you can. It's a wonderful experience. One little secret that they taught us, for example, when you're in the park, the goal in that park is that you could get lost in it. Believe it or not, that is the goal in the park. In fact, the reason that Olmsted got the contract, he put in all of the there are a few actual vias of traffic. They can go through the park from the west side to the east side and vice versa. But he made them sunken in a way that if you are actually literally 500 feet north of where the 2 lanes of traffic are going back and forth, you can't see them and you can't hear them.
Wow.
So that's the only reason the main reason that he got that contract, and it is magical. So when you're in the park, if you look now with Harlem getting completely renovated and large buildings going up on the north side of the park, of course, Central Park West, and you've got the Dakota at 72nd, and you've got on the east side, higher buildings going up on the east side. Obviously, Central Park South, which is also 59th Street, has lots of new buildings that are also high. So if you're in the middle of the park and you look at the horizon, you may think, oh, I'm looking south. I'm going to walk south. Uh-huh. There's a little secret that they taught us, which I don't think it's a secret, and we're going to share it with you. Every lamppost, this was from way back when they originally built these. So on the old, beautiful wrought iron lampposts right up to the new mercury vapors that they put in, there are 4 numbers on every lamppost. The first 2 indicate what street approximately you're parallel with. And then the next 2 are just which number along the park that lamppost corresponds with. So if you're walking and you see you don't know which way is north or south, and you see a lamppost and it says 7209, you know that you're at 72nd Street.
Wow.
So if you just keep walking and find the next lamppost, if it says 7309, you know that you're going north.
I'm Teresa Rodriguez, Editor-in-Chief of Where San Francisco, and you're listening to Where Travel Podcast, where we'd love to talk about anything related to travel. For more information about this episode, as well as Where Traveler, be sure to check out wheretraveler.com.
09, you know that you're going north. So you just, as long as there is a lot of north, south, east, west here, and even ordering an Uber or any kind of shared car, it's good to know north, south, east, and west. One simple little thing.
Yeah, can you tell us about the streets? There's avenues and there's streets,
Absolutely,
correct?
there are indeed.
And do they go in specific directions?
I'm glad that you asked me that, because this really does help people if they can just, before they come, take a look at a map of New York. The avenues go north and south only, and the streets go east and west only.
That's pretty fascinating. And, you know, transportation in New York can be super tricky, especially coming from the airports. Is there any type of transportation you would recommend for each of the different airports? So let's start with Newark, for example.
Newark, you have a couple options. There is one called the Newark Express Bus, which runs not as often as they say it does. And I use it often, but I give myself 3 hours when it should take an hour and a half. But
Okay.
just saying. And I believe it's about $17 one way or something, and maybe 35 round trip, or 19 one way and 35 round trip, a little discount for the round trip. There's also you can take the train from Newark Airport. They now have a little section, a little air train that you can go to that hooks into the New Jersey Transit, which will take you to Penn Station, which is a little overwhelming if it's your first time in New York.
Okay.
The good thing about that bus is it has 3 very nicely located stops, one at Port Authority.
Bus
one,
or train?
The bus that we were talking about before, because you're all on the surface. You don't have to go up and down. You don't have to lug luggage.
Oh, got it.
Yes. So the train is $12.75, but it's a lot more hassle, and it leaves you in a very confusing, very busy Penn Station.
So we don't want to do that.
Not for the first time that you go, unless you're really familiar with Penn Station. Maybe by the time you're ready to leave. Other options are your car share services. My favorite happens to be Via. It's a shared service. Their drivers are well paid. They're happy, and they only accept luxury vehicles. So if you're at Newark Airport and you order a share, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be the only person in there. So it's a very reasonable way. It's maybe $55 one way to go from the airport into Manhattan directly to your address within 2 blocks of your address. But you can always tell them to drop you off early if you need it. But it's about $100 cab ride.
Oh.
So with the Via, that already includes your tax and tip, et cetera.
And all the tolls.
And a portion of the tolls, yeah.
Because we were going through and it was like $15 cash
It's
for
crazy,
toll.
yes,
Like,
it's true.
And then we've got JFK. Would you recommend would you recommend the same for all?
JFK also has a different air train, because that's obviously it's in Queens, and so it's instead of coming from New Jersey, that air train from JFK takes a little while, but it's fairly simple, and it's I think $4.75 or something to get on the air train, and then it's just a regular subway ticket, which is $2.75. So it's very efficient, and it's all rail, and then it'll just take you to whatever subway stop you know. So again, if you already know the subway stops, helpful.
Right.
Otherwise, JFK, you can take any of the shared ride service out of LaGuardia and JFK. It's called Golden Touch is the company that does the hourly bus service. Unfortunately, I don't think they just cut down their hours, and it's only from like 11 in the morning till 7 at night, which doesn't make sense to me, but they evidently are competing, I believe, with all these shared car rides, and they didn't have the people that they used to.
Right.
But that's very efficient, and it stops pretty much similar places as the one from Newark, and it's approximately the same price, maybe a little less, about $14 or $15 one way. In LaGuardia, if you do a shared ride, be prepared to walk maybe the equivalent of 2 city blocks to get to the parking garage in order to be assigned the aisle number for your Lyft, Uber, or Via.
Oh, interesting.
And from LaGuardia, to be honest, to come in a taxi, which you could get right outside of baggage claim, probably $40.
Okay, so it's equivalent.
So the shared ride would be maybe $21. Mm-hmm. But if you really don't want to walk all the way to the parking garage, you could just jump in a cab, and then they'll take you directly to where you need to go.
Yeah, and I think what's really fascinating, and this happens in like San Francisco, when you book a ticket, it'll say San Francisco area. So that includes Oakland Airport, San Francisco Airport, and San Jose Airport. And it's the same when you book a ticket to New York, it's Newark, LaGuardia, or JFK. And I think that it's really important for our listeners to make sure they know what airport that they're landing in, because yes, you're going to New York, but there are 3 completely different airport experiences.
You make an excellent point. Not only that, I've had guests that didn't realize that their inbound flight came into Newark and their outbound was going out of LaGuardia, because many of the airlines fly out of at least LaGuardia and Newark. JFK is a little more international, but especially if they're using some kind of code share and they got the best deal might have been. So it's definitely good to look and know. Of course, now you can check in online 24 hours before, but just definitely double check where you're coming in to and where you're going out of.
Yeah, that's a really, really, really helpful tip, because I think now especially with third party booking, online booking, they will say, do you want the best deal? Are you looking for the time? And so you're getting so many more options to book your ticket. So yeah, you could fly into Newark and then fly out of LaGuardia and just assume that you're flying out of Newark, the same airport
that you came into. Absolutely.
And then you're going to be in a little trouble. Surprise. Well, Shirley, this has been fantastic. Is there any other bits in advice or insights that you would like to share with our listeners?
Well, for those of you that are just now thinking, and because you're inspired to come to New York and visit us, my favorite 2 places to look for an airline ticket are skyscanner.com, which is actually fun for you can just put in there from any San Francisco airport, for example, to everywhere. And it'll say, oh, well, today Southwest is having $42. You can go to Atlanta or whatever. And these are the things you can do there. The other one that I do enjoy is Hopper, because they have created an amazing algorithm over about, I think, 14 to 16 years of data from all the airlines' reservations departments, and they can actually predict right now, if we put in, we want to go San Francisco to New York City the 10th of December to the 15th of December. It'll say, okay, now it's $1,100, but go ahead and wait, because we see it going down to, and they'll give you a number. And then you just sign up for a little alert and you'll get an alert saying, it's gone down $300, but just wait, because we see it going down. And then sometime in November, it'll say, it's gone down to $499. We don't see it going any lower. We suggest you buy it now.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And I have to say that it is a very it's 98% accurate. It seems when they tell you buy it now, go ahead and do it.
Wow.
But it's a good way to be able to plan ahead. And then once you do that, then you're going to go on Club Free Time and you're going to go on all of these others and find
and you might actually
fun things to do.
You might be there.
I might be their Big Apple greeter.
Thank you so much, Shirley Scott with the Big Apple Greeters, for spending some time with us here in Central Park in New York City. This is Teresa Rodriguez with WhereTraveler Podcast, and we can't wait to see you in New York City. You can find out more about New York, the Big Apple Greeters, and all the secrets that Shirley shared on WhereTraveler.com.
Thank you, listeners, for joining me. You've been listening to the WhereTraveler podcast, hosted by me, Teresa Rodriguez. This episode was produced and directed by Pete A. Turner, John Leon Guerrero, and Victoria Shepard. To listen to this podcast, find out more information about the crew, as well as WhereTraveler, visit WhereTraveler.com, your ultimate destination guide.